We're live, just so you know.
I cannot hear you right now.
We're live, just so you know.
Okay. I just want you to know. Congratulations for increasing your win total by 1 win. I gotta give it up for you. You got a big name, big splash. You know, it was cute. It was a cute little addition. It was cute, but Tyreek ain't the same without Mahomes. Mahomes ain't the same without Tyreek.
Damn, that's crazy.
You don't have Mahomes. You have Tua turn the ball over.
Damn, that's crazy. I don't think I asked though.
5 draft picks, which is wild, by the way.
Yawn.
Are
you ready? You ready?
I was born ready for this.
Shut up. All right, ready. 3, 2. Wait, I think I forgot to share it somewhere else. Actually, no. All right. 3, 2. Actually, hold on. All right. 3, 2. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Andres, and we're back with episode 4 of Sports Mania. And today, along with my co-host Jordan, how you doing, sir?
I'm very I'm just like whatever. Like today's just whatever. You know, like it's nothing. Like nothing goes on. Like I mean, it's just tough. I mean, life is life, and you know, every day above ground is a great day. You know, Pitbull said that, but it's just kind of it's like nothing is going on. The Yankees, the Cowboys. What are we doing? The Rockets are gonna do the Rockets. What are we doing, man? I'm okay. I'm okay. That's a good word to say. I'm okay. How are you?
Doing good. So I gotta ask the question. Mentally, Jordan, where are you today?
I am away from the sports world. I'm mentally fantastic. But you know, with the sports world, I'm awful. I'm awful.
Right. Well, like you woke up today and it was like a good day, and like you got a peace of mind, you're good, everything's good.
Yeah. Besides, like on a serious note, everything is fine. Life is great. It always is.
That's good, bro. That's good to hear. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a good show coming up for you guys. We might have a couple of guests coming in. I guess we'll have to stay tuned and find out who they are. But nevertheless, you know, we got a lot of football for you guys coming. We got a lot of basketball for you guys coming. And we got a lot of baseball because it's fucking back. They finally reached an agreement. But first things first, Jordan, what is the groundbreaking news of this morning that you are so happy about right now?
Tyreek Hill was traded to the Miami Dolphins.
Wait. Time out. What? Say that one more time. I think
this is the first and last time this is the second and last time I'm gonna say this. Tyreek Hill was traded to the Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins acquired a superstar player. What world are we living in?
I don't know what's been like this offseason. This is just to spin off of where I was going, like off of what we're just talking about. This has been the craziest, by far, the craziest offseason that I've ever dealt with. You know, this is the craziest offseason I've ever dealt with trades, like megastar trades, you know, moves that are just so insane. This is probably the craziest NFL offseason, and it just basically started about 2 weeks ago. Russell Wilson gets traded. Well, yeah, Russell Wilson gets traded to the Broncos. Devontae Adams gets traded to, I don't even want to finish that sentence.
Manny's in the comments. He wants you to apologize and say
Tyreek Hill. I gave him his props already. Congratulations on, Devontae Adams. That's a great addition. But I mean, at the end of the day, I can't even say anything about Kansas City because Kansas City's offseason has been god awful.
All right. Well, to talk about Tyreek Hill, we got a special guest. He's in the weight room right now. He's about to join us.
I don't even know.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got one of the biggest Dolphin fans in the sports hit list besides me, of course. We got my man Rick.
You got me teamed up. You got it teamed up.
My man Rick. How you doing, sir?
Rick, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. First and foremost, I'm happy to be here, man. My debut appearance. I got some keys. I'm with the homies, man. Appreciate y'all letting me stop by and kick it with you guys on such an amazing day,
Rick, before we start, where are you mentally today?
Oh man, I'm in a good place, like Jordan said, outside of the sporting world, I'm in a great place. And it's not so often where, thanks to the sporting world and the aqua and the orange, that I could be in a good place. And today I'm there too. So great place all around.
Absolutely. So Rick, this morning we woke up to some great news. We saw that Tyreek Hill, he wanted out of Kansas City, and it feels like the trade just happened like quickly. Adam Schefter reported that the Jets and the Dolphins wanted him. And here we're thinking, here we go again with the Dolphins. They're not going to do anything. But we got Armstead yesterday and today. What happened? How did the Dolphins get Tyreek Hill so quick?
Well, and like you said, it seems to have happened quickly. But, a lot of reports are saying that the Chiefs were kind of anticipating this as early as even last year. Like they kind of had that inkling that they may not be able to reach a number that's going to work for them and him and his side as well. So they were kind of anticipating this, and apparently have been negotiating for a while. And even some of these trade offers apparently didn't just come out of nowhere today. So this process managed to kind of happen under wraps for, at the very least, a few days, if not, a week or two. And we get to the point where, once you, as the team that kind of holds all the cards, being the Chiefs, once you get to a point where you make that decision, like, all right, like we can't bring this guy back. Now it's, who got the biggest bag, So you could tell I think it's a good thing in a situation for them where the story's able to leak and it gets out there and there's no cat and mouse games. There's no stretching it out and messing around. Let's take the best deal. Let's get this thing over with and let's move on. And that's what I think we saw happen today.
Absolutely. So I don't mean to be biased, but I think it's a good thing that we got Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that we won the trade immediately because obviously, it takes time. And I think, in my personal opinion, it depends on how you look at it. Because like for me, when it comes to players and draft picks, right? There's a lot of teams that value draft picks more than players, and there's a lot of teams that value established players more than draft picks. Do you think the Dolphins did the right thing in going after a star player to team up with Waddle, team up with Monster, team up with Chase Edmonds, and we got Mike McDaniel as the head coach? So did the Dolphins do the right thing by grabbing an establishing player for Tua?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we just spent 3 years, kind of, I don't want to say worshiping, but valuing the draft picks. We 3 straight years where, collecting draft capital was the name of the game. No, what is it? Strength in numbers. The more you have, the better your chances of striking gold. We didn't have a whole lot of hits, a lot of great hits early on, but we managed to get some really quality hits in the past year or two, which is great. So, you're looking at a team that has a lot of young talent that's been built through the draft over the past 3 years and getting, a few free agent signings here and there, So now when you get to a point where you're looking at a team, and the funny thing to me is the mindset of the fan who's out there and saying like, the Dolphins are trash. This doesn't mean anything. It's, they're still horrible. Okay, let's take a look at that, right? The Dolphins are trash. This is a team for the past 2 seasons that missed the playoffs by 1 game. All right. So we could say they're trash. What are we going to focus on? Obviously on the offensive side, because we know, once again, for the past 2 years, even 2.5 years, going back to that first season where they were supposed to look horrible, the defense shined, right? So you've got a defense that's continued to get better and has played like one of the best defenses in the league consistently, right? So we know the eyesore is on the offensive side of the ball. So now we're in an offseason where every single position on the offensive side of the ball we have upgraded in this offseason. Like, think about that. Every single position. There's only one position that we didn't upgrade from last year, right? That's the quarterback position. Now let's look at the quarterback. This is a guy who, no matter what happened with the whole Flores situation, the one thing we do know is that everybody in the building wasn't for him. Everybody in the building wasn't putting him in a position to succeed. What we are seeing right now is this team saying, we are doing everything we can to put you in a position to succeed. Go out there and do it. So for me, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So, not to make this all about the Dolphins, Jordan, but hey, listen, yesterday we got Armstead, so we're looking at Armstead and Tyreek Hill in the span of 24 hours. It's a crazy thing to think about. And we got Chase Edmonds, Raheem Monster, Connor Williams, Cedric Wilson Jr. We got Teddy, like you said, Trent Sheffield, Alec Ingold. We tagged Gesicki. We re-signed Ogba. I mean, it looks like a pretty solid offseason thus far, Rick.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, again, people can say all they want about it means nothing and the Dolphins are still going to be trash. Again, we're talking about a team that for 2 years in a row missed the playoffs by one game. As anybody with eyeballs who has ever watched a game of football, yes, I understand you still got to get out there and play the games, but at the very least, you can't sit here and tell me that they have not just improved their offense at the very least by one game, right? So if that's the case, and if that's the metric, and if that's the trajectory, this is a team who, we would expect is absolutely going to be in a position to put themselves in a spot for one of those playoff spots, even though it's the AFC and you're talking maybe 11
powerhouses.
You're talking 11 deep possibly on that side, and only 7 make it, right? If I'm not mistaken now. So
absolutely,
it's going to be tough, but you know what I mean? If you're going into an arms race, you're going to need some arms. So,
Absolutely. We got another guest coming in from the Smoke and Mirrors podcast. He's just going to be coming in right now because today the topic of the NFL is who's had the best offseason thus far.
Really?
From the Smoke and Mirrors podcast.
Oh, really?
Mr. Declan Klugman.
Really?
How you doing, sir?
Oh,
happy to be here, man. Thanks to both you guys for having me. First time on Sports Mania. Got my boy Rick in here too. Dream team. Couldn't be happier to be here today.
So, Declan, where are you mentally today?
Mentally, not too bad. Every day above ground is a great day, as Jordan alluded to, the legendary Pitbull from the 305. How fitting. Would say those kind words, motivational words. But today I can't complain, man. I'm happy to be on. So that's really paramount for me right now. So
appreciate that. So I wanted to bring you guys on because you guys know a little bit more of NFL than me. So I'm going to give you a list of some players, Jordan, and obviously the unanimous decision is Deshaun Watson, but I'm going to give you a list of some players. So we got Matt Ryan to the Colts, Marcus Mariota to the Falcons, Tom Brady back to the Buccaneers, Deshaun Watson to the Browns, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, Jameis Winston back to the Saints, Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers, and Carson Wentz to the Commanders. Of those list of quarterbacks that I just give you, who had the best shot and who has the best offseason until now before the draft? Because we're still 1 month away from the draft.
I'm gonna let Declan go first on this one.
You're gonna let the guest go first. Okay, so Declan, we don't mean to put you on the spot, but who is the biggest acquisition right now?
Give me all those names you just listed.
We got Matt Ryan to the Colts,
okay.
Marcus Mariota to the Falcons, Tom Brady back from retirement, Deshaun Watson to the Browns, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, Jameis Winston back to the Saints, Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers, and Carson Wentz to the Commanders.
I mean, that's tough. The 3 that stick out, of course, are Brady, Watson, and Wilson. I think anybody that would say anything else is probably missing the point of the offseason as a whole, really, unless I'm missing something. But I would probably have to go out of all those teams. I would say Russell Wilson and the Broncos would be my number one because I think the Broncos have a ready-made defense that can win. I think that team has weapons on both sides of the ball. Obviously, some that Russell Wilson will be very interested and excited to throw to, and Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton. He's got a lot there. Sucks that they had to give up Fant, but I think they really took this team and made them from a last place in the AFC West to a win now overnight, just by one move. And they gave up a lot to get it, but it's Russell Wilson, top 5 to 7 quarterback in the NFL. It's worth it, in my opinion. I think the Browns trade is equally just as big, if very close. They had a lot to give up name-wise. That's the biggest move of the offseason. But to turn a team to go from, listen, the Browns were a better roster with Mayfield than the Broncos were with Locke and Teddy Bridgewater. So I think that it took a lot for, even though in that one move that sent the Broncos into more unfamiliar territory than they were last season, as opposed to the Browns.
Absolutely. Rick, I'm going to pop you the same question. Which quarterback is the headline of this offseason?
Yeah, I'm gonna mirror some of Deck's thoughts there. I totally agree. Obviously, the Watson thing stands out immediately. Cleveland went out there and took a chance, and after being told that it wasn't going to happen, continued to make those efforts and actually pull the trigger and nail it. So got to give them credit there. But for me, I think it's Brady and the Bucks specifically because obviously that team was built to win now to his, very specific specifications, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like legit, he kind of played GM and had his guys in place there to be able to win immediately in, a 2, 3, maybe 4-year window. Who knows how many more years he's got left in him. So when he retires, they're on the brink of having to figure out who's going to come in now and play quarterback. But even beyond that, all of those guys that were willing to come in and play for cheap, are you going to be able to bring those guys back? Some of them left before the announcement came, and I'm sure that had played a role in it too, the fact that Brady wasn't going to be there. So the minute you see Brady say he's coming back, some of those guys that were kind of on the fringe and still trying to figure out what they were going to do from a free agency standpoint decided to come back. They said Lenny Fournette was supposed to get on a flight to go to New England. It was just like, nah, forget it, man. Like where's the pen? Like, I'm not even jumping on the plane. I heard it might still be snowing up there. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean? So I think without a doubt, Brady coming back to the Bucks, because that could have been a completely, we say 0 to 100. That could have been a complete 100 to 0 situation for the Bucks this coming season.
Absolutely. So we got Clint Hall in the comments saying Matt Ryan to the Colts, no brainer. Jordan, we know that Carson Wentz. I'm not even going to be nice. He shit the bed in the last game against the Jaguars. Everyone knows that. Do you think that Matt Ryan makes this Colts team a team that moves the needle?
Yeah, they'll move the needle, but it's not like they're going to really move the needle, if you understand what I mean. Like, you're going to move it, but you're not really going to have it in a sense where it's like the Colts are now a team to actually be scared of in the AFC. When there's literally 4 teams, I'll give you your props, Manny. There's 4 teams in the AFC West who are dangerous, who are fairly dangerous. They're all fairly dangerous teams. And, they're all very respectable and they all have a chance of doing damage in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if any of the 4 of them did any damage in the playoffs. But the Colts still, no, like the Colts are not really, at best, maybe Matt Ryan has a good year and they go to the wild card, maybe, but that's about it. Matt Ryan doesn't move the needle. Now, going back to your past question, the question that you had just before this one, Andres, I want you to
let me add something real quick before.
Wait, Declan, can you turn your camera, bro?
Yeah.
My bad, Jordan. Just because you're right there on the Colts, let me add something real quick. One thing I do like about the move of Matt Ryan to the Colts, I think from the Colts perspective, they're kind of looking at it as just getting a steady hand for that steering wheel. You know what I mean? So you're right. It doesn't push them far in a way above from what they were last year. But I think from their mindset, they're looking at the division that they're in, how they finished the season last year. Some of those kind of games that you could look at Carson Wentz making some questionable decisions down the stretch and whatnot, and think, hey, if I just got a little bit of a steadier hand on the steering wheel, I could possibly win this division, or at the very least get into a wild card. So I don't think they're looking for a huge upgrade. I think it's really minuscule. And with the roster that they kind of have in place, again, the AFC is a lot tougher, but just a slight upgrade could prove the difference for them.
Rick, you do have a good point there, because I mean the Colts literally were a game out from making the playoffs last season, and then Jacksonville came in and shocked them and stopped their season from continuing on. And if you look at the AFC South now, Houston, God knows what's going on in the city of Houston in every sport. Then you have
except baseball.
Maybe baseball. Baseball, I'll give them baseball. But literally, look at Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee is not really well. You're getting Derrick Henry coming off of an injury. Tennessee's not really going to, if anything, is going to be between Tennessee and Indianapolis, and Matt Ryan might push them just enough. That's why I'm saying like it has to be a little bit of like a, you know, like a good season for Matt Ryan. Like Matt Ryan's going to have to throw at least 4,300 yards, you know, for us to be talking about them possibly winning the division and hosting a playoff game against one of the teams from the AFC West. Mm-hmm. That's what we're probably going to have to be talking about, you know, come January.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think this team, they can win that division. Like Matt Ryan, there's a new number 2 in town, and forget about just like them being one game out in January. Really, this is a team that we were looking at it. They have the elite running back. They have the elite offensive line. They have the elite defense. We were looking at this team as like, all right, maybe Wentz can't be the star of the show, but if they can ride the wave, they can contend for a championship. And I think they might be that level of a team. I don't think they're going to be a championship contender, but I think they can win that division.
And Tennessee hasn't done much so far this offseason too. That's another thing. Like they haven't really been out there improving their team.
They let go of Julio Jones. That was really all they did.
And the rumors already swirling that he might want to try to run it back with Matt Ryan in Indianapolis. Yeah. So who knows?
Crazy. I do think the biggest one has to be Brady though. Like as much as like people want to like put all the cameras on like Watson and stuff, I don't think we can take away from Tom Brady and like his body of work because like Rick said, all these players that were thinking about retiring, they're like, you know what? I don't think I want to retire anymore. So I think Brady going for number 8 is going to be a crazy thing to witness. Rick, before I let you go, I got one more question. We are 1 month away from the draft. I'm going to give you a list of a couple teams, and you got to tell me which one of these teams had the best offseason. We got the Browns, the Colts, the Broncos, and the Dolphins. Which one of these teams had the best offseason, or do you have another pick?
Man, listen, so from that list, I'm going to give you 2 answers because obviously I'm going to give you the biased answer where people are going to say I'm only saying it because I'm a Dolphin fan. And obviously, yes, I am a Dolphin fan, but I honestly do believe when you're able to upgrade every single position on the side of the ball that has been your Achilles heel, that's a plus. Like there's no way around that, you know, to be able to bring back just about everybody and the people that you lost, you upgraded from, that's a win, you know? And then we're going to go to Cleveland. We know the meme of the jersey with the nonstop list of quarterback names. You know what I mean? Like you can't shake that. Like that is the epitome of can't find the quarterback as a franchise. And this is coming from a lifelong Miami Dolphins fan. You know what I mean? So we
love you, Dante Culpepper.
Right? So when you're able to, you know, as far as you know, at least put that to bed, at the very least, this is a team who is already very, very well talented. And for the past 2 years have been picked to be able to make some noise and contend possibly for a championship and have come up short. And a lot of times that they're coming up short, you know, the fingers being pointed at the quarterback position. So when you get a guy that's 25 years old or whatever it is, who when he last played was a top 5 QB in the league, you know, obviously they'll have to deal with whatever repercussions come from his situation finally being cleared up, whatever the NFL is going to do from a suspension standpoint. But once they get past that, it's going to be a PR nightmare. Yes, you know, they'll have to deal with that as well. But on the field, when it comes to the actual X's and O's on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, or whatever day it is, man, Cleveland did really, really good to get Deshaun Watson at quarterback.
Absolutely. So, guys, I'm going to give you a spoiler. Next week, Rick doesn't even know this, but he's going to be back to give us a preview of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So,
okay.
Make sure next week you're tuned in to watch Rick give his takes. Rick, I appreciate you for coming on, my brother, and I will see you next week to discuss some footy.
Appreciate the invite, fellas. Glad to be a part of the show. Y'all are killing it, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
As you, Rick.
So, Declan, I'm going to throw you the same question that I gave to Rick. Who's had the best offseason thus far and why? Because I came up with these 4 teams. Another team that I was thinking about was either the Rams, the Chargers, or even the Raiders now that they got Devontae Adams. But we know a lot of people are saying Derek Carr is obviously the biggest question. So, Declan, since you're the guest, I'm going to throw you the question once again. Who's had the best offseason thus far, 1 month still away from the draft?
I think there's a lot of teams that have had good off seasons. I think the Broncos getting Russell Wilson alone is a great acquisition, but specifically and really overall, the off seasons that I've been impressed with is I think Pittsburgh did a great job. They got out of cap hell. They built their offensive line. listen, you can say what you want about Trubisky, but at least they have a stopgap plan in place to potentially find their successor for Ben. And I think, again, this is a roster that can win you above 500 games and on an above 500 record, excuse me. And if you think about it, right, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they were a team that they were in talks to get Rodgers, to get Russell Wilson, potentially Watson, at least rumors, right? That's a team, those three quarterbacks would have been able to take that team big time to the playoffs. So I don't think, without question, even with as good as the AFC is. So I think Pittsburgh making a lot of noise is big there. And I also think that the Bills had a really good offseason, getting Von Miller, securing some backs, just really trying to build up, getting weapons like Jay Crowder, more guys for Josh Allen to throw to really go for it in the AFC. I think the Chiefs have had a horrible offseason, and I think the trade today that they had was really bad. I'm hearing some overreactions that people think they're going to finish in last in the AFC West. Why don't we slow our roll a little bit? This is why sometimes I really hate it here. But honestly, they have had a bad offseason. But those would be a couple teams to give you. Because I got to give you some. I can't give you one set answer. I got to give you a good amount of the teams that have been good.
Absolutely. Jordan, so a lot of people are drawing the Mahomes-Roger comparison of winning one Super Bowl and never winning another Super Bowl. The first question is, who's had the best offseason thus far, 1 month away from the draft? And the second question is, are the Chiefs cooked?
First of all, every team that Declan mentioned was accurate, 100%. He didn't miss. I will say I like what LA did in getting Allen Robinson. I really did like that acquisition, especially because this is a team literally coming off a Super Bowl. You lost Von Miller, and I understand Von Miller is a big, like, he's normally a big piece, but like to the Rams, he's not that big. When I think of big, I think of Aaron Donald. I think of Jalen Ramsey. I think of the offensive line. I think of Matthew Stafford. I think of the weapons around Matthew Stafford. You get Cam Akers. You get the same receiving core. You still get Cooper Kupp back. Now you add Allen Robinson to Van Jefferson. There we go. Van Jefferson. If they bring back Odell, God knows. But I think I definitely like the acquisition of Allen Robinson in LA. Buffalo, like Declan said, the only thing is, honestly, if you could sign Von Miller for a little bit less. Buffalo really didn't need too much. I know, Declan and I went a little back and forth about how they were an overtime away from making it to the AFC Championship game and all those overtime rules and blah, 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 whatever. But Buffalo definitely did improve in getting I'm just looking at Von Miller alone and like the pieces that you could put around Josh Allen, who is a top 5 quarterback in the league easily. Top 5. I'll say top 5.
I would honestly, I'd put him top 3. Yeah,
I was about to, but then Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, I can't break that.
Andres, what's up?
No, I was gonna say that's fair, but I don't know. I feel like Josh Allen has to be there.
Like Josh Allen, top four. We'll meet in the middle.
Like here's what I think. I think when we saw the Chiefs Bills game, you mentioned a good point, a coin toss away from the AFC Championship. I would go as far as to say they were a coin toss away from the Super Bowl because they matched up really well against the Bengals, especially keep in mind that game would have been in Buffalo. And I even think they match up well against the Rams. The best game of the postseason, perhaps the best game that we've seen in the last 10 years, was that Chiefs-Bills game. And to me, you were looking at quarterback 1A and 1B. I don't think it's so tight-knit that you could put Allen at 1. I think that's a little bit excessive. I wouldn't do that. But I really honestly would put him at 2. I could make the argument to have him above Rodgers at this point, especially after his postseason performances. He put up 10 points against the Niners. Obviously, that was questionable. And by the way, the touchdown they got was on the ground. But besides that, Brady, of course, is great. Led the league in passing, yes. Star-studded team for sure. But I just really think Allen, at this point, he does it all. And he can do everything Mahomes can and more on the ground at least. And he matched him and flat out outplayed him in that game. So I think he's top 3.
We got Rick in the comments saying another point for Cleveland is that people such as OBJ and Landry were running like hell from there with Watson being there ends that. Yeah, and I would agree with that statement that Watson being there. I mean, I think OBJ even said that he maybe wanted to go back to Cleveland, but between Los Angeles and Cleveland, I think it's like an easy choice. Yeah. Declan, so on my podcast, whenever I have a guest, I do this thing of putting people on the spot. Since you're the guest today on this show, I'm going to put you on the spot. Gun to your head right now. What is the Super Bowl right now?
Ooh, all right. I'll I like that. That's a fair point. Excuse me. I guess I should say a fair question. I think the Bills are going to win it. That I feel comfortable with. I guess I feel comfortable with nothing because it's the National Football League, in case anyone forgot. But give me the Bills. The NFC is so boring. That's the problem.
On one hand, it's either the boring pick of the Rams or the boring pick of Brady. It's like no in between.
I know. Like I want to give something a little more than that, but I would say the Cowboys, but Jordan knows with Mike McCarthy that's not possible. Yeah, I gotta go Bills Rams again. Whatever.
Bills Rams. Okay. Jordan, before we move on, gun to your head right now, what is the Super Bowl before the draft?
I was gonna say either Kansas City, LA or Bills LA, but I'd probably nod and say Bills LA because let's be real. I mean, now it's different for Kansas City, but Dallas, really? Why do you think Dallas?
No, that was a pure joke, just because you're Dallas.
Damn.
I was taking a McCarthy shot that I knew you could at least get behind, so threw it out there.
I could definitely get behind now. You want to joke about Mike McCarthy or Jerry Jones? I'm your guy to look for because I hate both of them. No moves this offseason besides Dante Fowler and James Washington, really. No big splashes. Boring in Dallas. No big moves. Flirting with Bobby Wagner didn't really do anything. Flirting with Juju Smith-Schuster didn't do anything. So, it's lovely over here.
I would give
that's in purgatory, I guess.
I would give you guys a list of the Dolphin players that we acquired, but Rick already broke that down for you guys. So
traded Amari Cooper for a box of cookies.
that's another good acquisition by the Browns, absolutely.
But Andre, just to answer your question from earlier, by the way, Kansas City is not cooked. Okay, they still have talent around the ball regardless. I understand that Tyreek Hill was that big guy, he was that big name, but at the same time, without Tyreek, like Brady without Edelman will still be Brady. Mahomes without Tyreek, in my honest opinion, will still be Mahomes. I'm
going to stop that myself, but it's okay. I'm going to stop Mahomes. Me and Manny, we're going to stop Mahomes ourselves, and Andrew as well. We're going to stop. I'm going to tell him to stop, and he's going to stop. But moving on to our second topic of the afternoon. I'm going to leave baseball for last because we're going to talk a lot about baseball. So we're going to get the NBA out of the way. Moving on to our second topic of the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 weeks away from the NBA playoffs. Declan, I got to put you on the spot once more. Who is your MVP if the season ended today and why? It's a tough cookie. There's 3 candidates. It's a tough cookie. I still don't know who I think. I might give an answer in a few minutes.
I was gonna say, can I defer to you guys and potentially be the what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know why I can't think of it.
The tiebreaker, absolutely.
Yes, there you go, the deciding factor.
So Jordan, obviously, I know you have a couple of agendas in your MVP voting, but if the season ended today, there's 10 games left. Who's your MVP and why?
What do you mean agenda?
You hate Giannis.
Really? Because I was gonna say that I think he'd win his third. I really think that. I think he deserves to win his third MVP. I just don't think he's. There's a lot of hopscotching going on. There's a lot of me jumping around, but yes, honestly, I do think Giannis should win MVP. But add context with what I'm given, I have to say Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's like, there's nobody really where it's like, oh damn, but Embiid, like Embiid kind of slipped a little bit for me. I mean, to me, there's not even a third. It's really just between.
Whoa.
To me, it's just Giannis and
okay.
To me, it's Giannis and Embiid, and I think that Giannis has that slight edge over Embiid, just because, first of all, Philly, like with the addition, once you have that extra superstar, it does make it a little bit more difficult to actually. Win. What do you mean, but?
But Embiid has a good sample size to be MVP. It doesn't matter if James Harden is there or not.
I understand. But regardless, it does make it a little bit more difficult. I understand he does have that sample size, but it does make it a little bit more difficult. He had 3-4 months of elite level of playing to show for why he deserves to win MVP. But not having another superstar next to you because this is the regular season we're talking about. So it's literally, remember, so there's a large sample size of him just alone. And then there's a bit of a sample size of him with James Harden. So with that, honestly, in my opinion, I'd put Giannis just above and give Giannis his third MVP, in my opinion.
Okay. So the thing is, when it comes to MVP voting, now I told Carl the same thing, and shout out to the boss man. But when it comes to MVP voting, right, this year, the voters are gonna look at it like this. Ready? Giannis is gonna be for fatigue, and Jokic just won it last year. And then Embiid might win it just based off of that. But in my humble opinion, I do think that Giannis has a case to win MVP, and Embiid has a case to win MVP, and so does Jokic. So I just think it's like bogus that the writers are going to be like, oh, Giannis already won 2 voter fatigue. Oh, Jokic won last year when everyone was injured. Like, we can't look at that. Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid, all 3 of them deserve to be MVP. Giannis is putting up almost 30 a game, 12 rebounds, 6 assists on like 55% shooting, if I'm not mistaken. Embiid leads the league in 30. What?
Nothing. Go on.
Embiid leads the league in 30-point games. He's averaging close to 30 and 11. The Sixers are the 3 seed. The Bucks are the 2 seed. They're pretty much fighting it out. Jokic is averaging historic numbers. He's averaging like 26, 14, and 8 now that I'm looking at it, on 57% shooting. He's been carrying that Nuggets team all year, who haven't had their second best player in Jamal Murray and their third best player in Michael Porter Jr. But I think it's reached a point of Giannis Antetokounmpo being underrated. A 27-year-old man with 2 MVPs, a championship, a 50-point game in the NBA Finals has become underrated. And I just think it's disgusting to like even think about. Like, Giannis Antetokounmpo is an NBA champion and he's still underrated. Do you know how crazy it is to say out loud?
Every part of it is crazy because this is a guy who he's starting to get the LeBron treatment, yet he's not getting the LeBron respect. Right. I'm not saying he should get the LeBron respect, that LeBron has at age 37 in his career. But I think that we're just going to keep overlooking Giannis, who's literally one of the beasts of the East, without question. I mean, you can make a case for him any year that he could win. He won it twice. He could win it the third time. Andres, I really like the Joker was mentioned because I think he's another guy that they're just going to, not going to want to give it to another guy back-to-back like they've done with Giannis. And there's a legitimate argument there. Jordan, to your point with Embiid, I think it's absolutely so accurate that once you bring a superstar in, it hurts you in terms of winning the MVP for multiple reasons. One, people are just going to think that because Harden came in, if his numbers get better, it's going to be because of that. If his numbers get worse, it's just going to play into the whole narrative that you see in baseball a lot when the Dodgers add another superstar every offseason. Is 2 MVP candidates splitting votes and just the voters not being able to decide that one of them should be the leader or the best player on that team, thus winning the award for being the best player in the league. But I think right now it is Giannis. He's not necessarily head and shoulders above the other 2, but I think that Embiid's sample size is not consistent enough on the whole year. And the Joker, while he's played well, just hasn't necessarily played to the exact level that Giannis has played. So that's why I give him the slight edge.
Right.
I do think Embiid has a sample size. He's been fantastic all year. Like the question was always, can he stay healthy? And this year he's been able to stay healthy.
Right.
So it's gonna be a war zone for the voters. I don't know what they're gonna vote. Honestly, I won't be mad at either one of those 3 winning it. And the other thing is the Nuggets are like the 6th seed, and a lot of voters are gonna be like, well, he's the 6th seed. But like, if you really, it's like last year. Last year, Tibbs won Coach of the Year, but like, did he really deserve Coach of the Year for being 1 game above everyone else when Monty won like 50-something games and the Suns were the 1 seed? The 2 seed, excuse me. I genuinely don't think so.
Yeah,
but
and that's what I don't like. Sometimes the voters will look at it as if like
it's a narrative.
They give a team accomplishment to the coach, and sometimes listen, like you look at Julius Randle had an insane year. And he didn't have that year this year. And now all of a sudden it's Tibbs sucks. Tibbs was good last year.
No more empty arenas.
Exactly. And it plays a different role.
Another thing I do have to bring up. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring this up, but I have to because, this man, Isaiah Thomas, said, let it be known. Devin Booker, league MVP conversation, best record, leading scorer has always been part of the criteria. Devin Booker said, I appreciate that, but the criteria changes depending on the player's name. Devin Booker, you are not the most valuable player in the NBA. I am sorry. There's at least 7 players more worthy than you. I'm sorry. Like a lot of people are going to say that Devin Booker deserves to be MVP because he's the 1 seed. No, he's not. He's not more valuable than Giannis or Embiid or Jokic or Tatum or Luka or let's say Ja Morant this year at least.
Taking guys off their teams, I mean, you could definitely see a huge difference. I think Phoenix, I don't want to say Phoenix is going to be, exactly where they are now, but Phoenix could make something work as compared to Milwaukee having to change their way of basketball or Boston having to change their way of basketball to the certain degree that they're playing now, So I love Devin Booker. Don't get me started, but you're 100% right, Andres, and like not MVP, not like when you take a lot of these guys off, like Jokic, if you take off like I said before, if you take off a Giannis, if you take off an Embiid, you're going to see the difference. You're going to see a huge difference in the way their team falls.
Absolutely. Declan, fair or foul with Devin Booker's comments?
Listen, I think his comments, he's absolutely right that the criteria definitely changes based on a player's name. But if you look at the numbers, I agree that Devin Booker hasn't been necessarily as valuable as, say, you take a guy like the Joker, Jamal Murray, his teammate, his all-star guard essentially is recovering from a torn ACL. And now if you took Jokic off the Nuggets, that's a team that is probably sitting below the Clippers, looking at a play-in or worse. Whereas I think if, God forbid, Devin Booker got hurt and was out 6 to 8 months and wasn't playing this year or lost the majority of the chunk of the year, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, I think this team is all right. They could still be a top 5 team in the West. But Devin Booker, of course, is the leader. And I think I don't know if there's 7 players better than him in the West that are more deserving than, or really not just the West, the whole league that are more deserving for the MVP. But I do think he's within that like top 5 to 7 range potentially.
He could be in that range, but like I said, the players that I mentioned, I think they have been more valuable. So Jordan, if the season ended today, we got, oh my goodness, we got the Heat against whoever's the 8th seed. We got Bucks against whoever's the 7th seed. We got the Sixers and Cavs. We got the Celtics and the Bulls. Gun to your head right now. Who's coming out of the East and why?
Is this Jordan or me?
No, it's me. I'm just thinking.
I
just like whenever I'm really thinking, I just go silent. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be Miami anymore. I don't
think so. I don't think so.
On Miami, Milwaukee does have a chance of running it back.
If they get the 1 seed, pack it up.
Yeah, if they get to 1, and they're only about 2 games back. I think they're 2 games back, right?
Yes, sir.
So damn, it might be Milwaukee just running.
Bro, the NBA right now, like this is the first time in a while that like it's getting intense at this stage,
Right.
Because like last year or the previous years, who's a fraud and who's not, but like this year you have like
who the frauds are. No, you know who the frauds are. I mean,
the Sixers.
Chicago is a fraud. And
I agree, Andre. The Sixers are definitely a fraud.
Chicago and Philly are frauds.
And the Cavs, obviously.
And the Cavs, frauds.
Okay, but the Cavs, you could say the Cavs are frauds. That's fine. But can we
they're cute.
They're cute. Yeah.
I mean, like they can be frauds. That's fine. But 2017 Yankees syndrome, a lovable group of guys that nobody expected to go.
Oh my God. Did you really, man? Can we wait till baseball to bring up the Yankees?
I forgot. Declan is a Yankees fan. Okay.
I am a Yankees fan, yeah.
Okay. You scared me for a second. I thought I got a little nervous. I was like, why are you throwing
So we got Manny in the comments saying, can you please tell Kyrie and Jason Kidd happy birthday? Now, me personally, I don't know either of them, but we can give a shout out to Kyrie Irving and Jason Kidd. Happy birthday
You know what I'll say? You want some news on the Kyrie front that could be a nice little birthday present for him? Drop a little bomb on you guys here. So New York City Mayor Eric Adams, through the sauces, as my boy Chuck Passon likes to say, Eric Adams is planning to go to Citi Field tomorrow to announce the end of the vax mandate. So I don't know what that means for Kyrie specifically, but Yankees and Mets players should be good to go.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
We'll see. So, Declan, who do you have coming out of the East and why?
Yeah. So, this is interesting.
It is interesting. It is very interesting because, there's
no lock. And that's why it's so tough to to overlook Jokic so quickly because the big bad West is such a nice, tough group. And the East, it's like, there's teams that can get through. I think the team that's going to do it is actually the Brooklyn Nets. Getting Harden out, I liked some of the capital they got back. Seth Curry, listen, Ben Simmons, of course, with a herniated disc, everything that's going on with his back, his mental, everything. He's a wild card. But I think the Nets are going to survive afloat, and they could take down any team in the East right now and make a championship run. And I think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at any of those choices. I love the Heat, but in the right scenario, which is avoiding Brooklyn, Milwaukee, I think we can make the Eastern Conference Finals. So today, if the Nets beat the Raptors in the play-in, Kyrie can't play in Canada, just as a note. If the Nets play the Raptors in the play-in, if the Nets beat the Raptors in the play-in, they would be the 7th seed. The Raptors or the Hawks or the Hornets would be the 8th seed. I think we could take care of them. And then we would potentially play Boston, who's the hottest team in the NBA right now. They're 17-3 in their last 20 games. Jason Tatum just won Player of the Week again. I think we can take care of Chicago or Boston. It's crazy to think that the Bulls were the 1 seed in January, and then 20 games later, they're about to be in the play-in. I think they might finish in the play-in, honestly. Looking at the schedules, maybe we have Bulls, Cavs in the play-in. We don't. It's going to be a crazy world. I went to. What's up?
Do you want to know something funny?
Something funny.
There's a team that you mentioned in there.
Oh God!
There's a guy who won Player of the Week. What team was it that you just mentioned?
The Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics.
You said wait. Did you say they were one of the hottest teams in the league?
They are right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it's funny. This is just to settle. Because listen, I have a lot of people that are after me.
A lot of people.
And one of them just so happened to be Carl himself. So Carl had, when I told Carl that the Celtics still have a chance to make the playoffs and he didn't see the Celtics making the playoffs, I'm more of a Celtic fan than Carl is. And I don't even and that's crazy.
This all goes back to the time that Jordan was wrongfully attacked on the Sunday show. For saying that he didn't believe in the Cowboys because of Mike McCarthy. What is wrong with that analysis? As a Cowboys fan, this is what we want from Cowboys fans: is fair and honest opinions.
Damn.
And he got absolutely mollywopped for just not thinking they'd win the Super Bowl. And what happened? They eliminated.
And guess what happened? I said, listen, I got made fun of for not even making it past the first round. I said we could make it past the first round. We'll make it past the first round. I at least had faith that we'd make it past the first round. I knew we were never going to reach the Super Bowl. Okay. But, and then they invited Peter on there and Peter just made a fool out of himself saying that we'd win the Super Bowl. And now look how ridiculous he looks. And now we traded our best receiver away for a box of scraps. Do you really think, okay, I'm sorry, but did you really think that I'm the one to get made? Why am I getting made fun of? Why was I attacked? And then what's crazy is the day after the game, I remember specifically me getting notifications from Paul about that situation, about being like, oh, well, you said you'd make it past the first round. So what happens if I had said we'd made it to the Super Bowl and been dumb? When was the last time the Cowboys made the Super Bowl? 94. Do you think I really have that much faith in Dallas? No. Right now, no.
I'd like to thank Jerry Jones for that.
Absolutely.
The common denominator.
Yes, sir. So I think quick. This is going to be a quick question. Declan, as a basketball fan, Nets Bucks or Nets Sixers in the first round, which would you prefer to see?
Oh, I would prefer to see Nets Sixers without question. I mean, that's just the first of all, the Philly New York rivalry is second to the Ben Simmons Philly rivalry, and if he's not even playing, it's still going to make noise. Harden and Kyrie, who knows what the dynamic is there? Heard it was messy. Just so many things to watch out for. We've seen KD and Embiid trade some barbs, although they're fine in when they talk about it in the press. But there's just so many different narratives and storylines from a fan perspective that is just going to make that a must watch. I'd like to see Nets Bucks down the line because that's a rematch of last year.
We're making the NBA the WWE with all these storylines. Adam Silver, shout out to him for making these incredible storylines. That's the only thing I'm going to give him a shout out for. Nothing else. Just making storylines and bringing games.
I don't even think he deserves. I think out of all the commissioners, Adam Silver probably is best.
And that's terrible because he's still bad.
Not that there's a shining list, but listen, I think the players are really to be held accountable for the league in that case with all these stories because they're the ones who've been asking out and getting their wishes.
Don't be surprised if there's not an agreement on the new CBA next year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow.
But Jordan, Bucks Nets or Bucks Nets or Nets Sixers first round.
See, Declan was absolutely correct. I really hope to God that I get to witness Nets Sixers. That is money. I could watch Nets Bucks down the line. That's not as nearly as important. That's for interest. I want to see Petty first. Give me the Petty first. Get me Ben Simmons in Philly, getting booed, getting stuff. Come on. This is what I need. I need this because I remember when they went to Philly, when Brooklyn faced Philly in Philly and, mollywopped the Sixers. But Ben Simmons walking to the bus to the game. He couldn't even get to the game. I'm glad he got there safely. But I like.
Are you really though?
I love fair. I like fair, non-dirty. Okay, we can go back and forth. I'm not saying yell mean, super mean things. I don't condone that. I condone do you miss us? Petty, just petty stuff.
Yeah. Listen, there's Ben Simmons is at the end of the day, that's just,
not me.
Fan banter. Exactly.
Yeah, that's banter. Now talking about his family, that's
different. What they did to who was it? Who was it they did that to? Was it
Nurkic, right?
Nurkic, yeah.
That was horrible. Talking
that
about
was
his
horrible.
dead mother and grandmother. Yeah, no thanks. Those are the scumbag fans, but the Philly, whatever, Ben Simmons, sure Philly fans are, as Jordan and I can attest as NFC East rivals, some of the worst fans in sports by far, but Ben Simmons is harmless.
Moving out west, we all have the Suns in the finals again.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
100%.
I think they're going to run it. I actually think they're going to win the whole thing, run it back. And I really think so. Listen, even though Devin Booker, I know they're the 1 seed. I know we kind of knocked him a little bit. He's still a great player. In case anybody somehow forgot, right. This is a team that really, logistically speaking, had their chance last year. Nobody thought they'd be coming back this year because everyone thought the Lakers would be reloaded, and they did just about the exact opposite. The West is wide open for them. The West goes through Phoenix. I think they can do it.
Yeah, and the West is looking bleak right now because seeds 2 to 5 or 6, they're separated by 3 or 4 games. So the Warriors better turn it on if they're going to have that Western Conference Finals matchup with the Suns, because right now it's not looking like that.
No. The thing is, the difference between the 1 and the 2 seed is like a mile.
No. The Suns already got the 1 seed. That's what I'm saying. If the Warriors want to
you see the difference in level of basketball. No disrespect to Declan's co-host. Why am I forgetting Greg? No disrespect to Greg's Grizzlies at all, but at the same time, this is, if we're talking championship basketball, we got to start. When it comes to the West, we talk about Phoenix and only Phoenix.
Manny said Suns play the Nets in the finals. That'd be dope. Chris Paul.
That's what I got.
That's what I got. Seeing Chris Paul against Kevin Durant, that'd be pretty dope. Two Hall of Famers. But nevertheless, moving on. I love that the show is going to run late today. I don't even care. Moving on to our third topic of the afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, baseball is back. Thank God. Thank Lord, baby Jesus. All 8 pounds of him. Declan, I have to ask you in your non-biased opinion.
Okay.
In your non-biased opinion, who's until today, until March 23rd at 4:54 p.m., what is the biggest acquisition and why? Take the floor.
Okay.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna think. Take the floor.
It is very tough. I would say the biggest acquisition of the entire offseason
is.
Sorry, I had my phone just 10% there right as that happened. The biggest acquisition of the offseason, I gotta say, from New York perspective, I want to say Max Scherzer to the Mets. I'm not going to steal Jordan's thunder, though. I'm going to stick with that division. I think the biggest acquisition was actually Matt Olson to the Braves, and here's why. Matt Olson to the Braves had the biggest collateral damage probably of any move in the entire league so far this year in this free agency, and it just happened a couple weeks ago. Freddie Freeman, in case you guys didn't know, Freddie Freeman was going back to the Braves. It was 1,000% happening. He wanted to go back there. He said he wanted to go back there. He practically said he literally said it in the press conference at Camelback Ranch in Arizona when they were introducing him in the Dodgers uniform. He said if it wasn't Atlanta, it was coming home to the Dodgers. This is a guy who was literally in tears. He could not speak for a few hours after they made that move to trade Matt Olson because he got the rug pulled under him. He was playing the game of let's try to use LA, Toronto to drive up the price. And now because of it, the Dodgers add to their already super team. They get Freddie Freeman, one of the best first basemen in baseball. And the Braves did all right for themselves. You could argue that over the next 6 years, Matt Olson is going to be a better player on both sides of the ball than Freddie Freeman. So I think both sides worked out really well there. But I wish in a perfect world that Matt Olson was a Yankee and Freddie Freeman was a Brave, but didn't work out that way.
What do we have to think for that? Shout out to Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner for still being asleep at the wheel, probably having some oatmeal right now as we speak before they have bingo night again. But
They're
Jordan,
85 years old. I mean,
all I'm gonna say, if George Steinbrenner was alive and he witnessed the Rays make the World Series and the Red Sox win the World Series, he would flip shit in the span of like 24 hours. So.
He's rolling in his grave right now.
You know what? In all fairness, that exactly did happen when George was alive. 2007, the Red Sox won it. 2008, the Rays went. And guess what happened in 2009? Sabathia, Burnett, Teixeira, the Yankees won it right there. So you guys got a point there. But there was a lot of, to George Steinbrenner, there was a lot of negative that gets overlooked because of the 90s. But before that, listen, they viewed him as like a laughing stock. He was a bit of a punchline. So he spent erratically. He got rid of guys too quick. Sometimes it happens. I'm telling you, we wouldn't have got the back end of Sabathia's deal if he was still alive. And Sabathia wound up being a great deal with the exception of a couple bad years in the middle, it wound up working out well at the end.
Absolutely. Jordan, in your non-biased opinion, what has been the biggest acquisition of the offseason thus far?
Imagine if I said Josh Donaldson to the Yankees. I would say no, for Declan, just in case you didn't know, I'm a Yankee fan. So it's a painful joke.
Yes, of course. Listen, we felt it on that. It's a bit self-deprecating.
Like I don't really care much about losing Gary, but Gio was that one hurt.
If after you're done, I can tell you why I like that trade a lot. But
okay. But I'm going to definitely say to the Mets, 100,000%. Don't mind the ice cream truck in the background. But definitely
that means the weather's getting nicer.
Scherzer and having DeGrom in your bullpen. I mean, how could you literally cannot go against that whatsoever. That acquisition alone definitely boost the Mets up in their division. The NL East should not be, especially because I know you said Matt Olson to the Braves, right? That was a big addition, but the NL East, it's looking like now that you add Max Scherzer to the Mets bullpen, it's looking like it could be a Mets or a Braves division this year. It could either be a Mets or a Braves division this year. Adding Max Scherzer does that big of a deal for New York. And you know what? You have to give our Subway Series rivals the credit on getting that deal done, and definitely now putting their names on the board of teams to watch for this season.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think, that's a tough question. That's a great question, by the way, Andres. Thanks. You're welcome. So I think the thing is, if you add Max Scherzer to this Mets team, they go from division winners to World Series contenders. That's how much Max Scherzer moves the needle. And, God willing, he's able to stay healthy. God willing, DeGrom's able to stay healthy. But if you look at the Mets right now, offensively, obviously they don't have the best lineup in the MLB. It's no question. But like Jordan said, if you have DeGrom and Scherzer and you have Bassett, who was the ace for the Athletics last year, and you have Cookie coming back, and you have Tejuan Walker, who's a question mark, the Mets rotation could very well get into the playoffs. Having Scherzer and DeGrom start 2 playoff games, 9 times out of 10, that's going to win you the first 2 playoff games. So now you're thinking about going back home down 0-2 with Chris Bassett, already starting to warm up for game 3. So if the Mets can stay healthy, I do think Max Scherzer is the biggest acquisition. Another thing to say, I don't think so. A lot of people are criticizing Correa for his move. Correa has already won a World Series. He's still 27 years old. There's a lot of people that think that the MLB is like the NBA, where you have to win multiple rings to be considered a great. Carlos Correa had a kid. He's engaged to his fiance. Like, maybe he just wants to look at the money right now. Obviously, he wants to win. He's 27 years old, so he's relatively young. The Correa made a great move going to the Twins because he's trying to build a foundation. You know, are the Twins and their 3,000 fans going to be excited about it, and the 5,000 people in the state of Minnesota got to be excited? Probably, yeah. But Carlos Correa in an article by The Athletic. By the way, The Athletic might be the best app to use out there. Correa asked Marvin Gonzalez for some advice, and the only thing that he said that was bad was the weather for the first month, but like that's about it, really. And Declan, you and I talked about this last year during the postseason. Like, when it gets cold, like, and you're playing for a World Series, you don't think about how cold it is outside. So why is Carlos Correa going to think about how cold it is outside when they're trying to win a World Series? But when it comes to Correa, I do think he made the right choice, because obviously, number one, he went for the money, and number two, he went to a team that, like, it's not like an unlikable team, but like, I'm just glad that he's in a Yankee. No offense.
No, that's fine. I think that's fair.
That's fair to say.
Yeah, and I think with Correa's deal, to hit on what both of you guys said quick, if you guys don't mind, Correa's deal is front loaded nicely. He could stay there 3 years, make his $105 million, and then sign another big contract. Guys, at worst, he's going to stay there till he's 30. He can get that deal, a 6-7 year deal, do good, produce, and then wind up with another 4-year deal on the back end. Like, these things happen. We've seen it. Or he can opt out after 1 year, like I think he probably will do. He's got an opt out after every season. He can decide. He pretty much gets to decide when he leaves. You know, no need to beg for a trade, because you could just wait a couple months and be on your merry way, and then go make more money. So I think what Correa did, it's actually kind of genius. And as far as what the Mets move was, the Scherzer move really made their free agency, because if you look at it, one, as far as the Braves go, this is a team, in my opinion, they got the best bullpen in baseball.
It's
really, they are
loaded,
insane, stacked at the back end. It's crazy. And another team that has, you could argue they have a better lineup than the Mets. I would. I just don't think they have a better rotation. The Braves lineup is nice. They're reloading. Oh, and by the way, they're the defending champs, who you can argue got a little bit better even with losing Freddy Freeman.
And they're getting Acuna back.
Yeah, and that's another thing. They didn't even do that without their perennial MVP candidate and one of the best young faces in baseball for the next 10 to 15 years. That's another thing. And then as far as the Phillies go, what the Phillies did in the last week, free agency-wise, offensively, trumps what the Mets did offensively the entire free agency period dating back to before the lockout. I'll take Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos over Starling Marte, Mark Canha, and Eduardo Escobar any day of the week.
Whoa.
Khan, listen, you heard Khan too. He backed up that statement. The tandem of Schwarber and Castellanos are more valuable than Marte, Canha, and Escobar.
I don't know, man. The stats don't reflect it. But
yes, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. They 1,000% do.
No, they do not.
Two elite hitters. Starling Marte is an elite base stealer. He's not an elite hitter.
He was like top 15 in win above replacement last year, man. Come on.
Because he had how many steals? He makes a big difference. He's already got an oblique injury.
I don't know, man. I think it's it might be the Braves division to lose, because obviously they're like the reigning champs and all that stuff. But like, getting Max Scherzer and Marte and Mark Canha, I really think that moves the needle. And the Phillies defensively, you saw it the other day. Rhys Hoskins missed the pop out. That's just going to be a reflection of what they're. That's just going to be a reflection of what their defense is going to be all season long.
Schwarber is going to DH. Schwarber is going to DH. Like, think about it. Out of those 5 players, who are the 2 best? It's Schwarber and Castellanos. Marte's not better than either one of those guys.
I don't know, man. The statistics say something else.
Not even MLB The Show says something else.
The statistics say something else, my man.
I don't see it. We can evaluate. We can look at the numbers.
If the Mets are healthy, they're going to end up winning the division. And I don't think the Phillies are going to be the same team they were last year, just a mediocre team that nobody cares about. Hopefully that franchise is liquidated, decimated, erased from history.
I don't see that, and you heard me just talk a lot of trash about Philly fans, right? So I think this is a team that mediocre, you could call them, sure, last year, but there's no denying that they got better. Do I think they're going to win this division?
They got
no chance. No chance. Well, yes, I agree. Castellanos is a butcher in the field. There's no secret to that. But you know what? he's going to hit 300 and potentially hit you 30 home runs. You'll deal with a couple errors in the outfield. He's not going to drop fly balls. He'll maybe misplay a few, but he's not going to drop a fly ball like the number 9 hitter in right field in Little League. It's not going to be like that.
We'll see. Jordan, would you agree that Carlos Correa did the right thing and like going for the money this offseason?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have to initially, well, obviously everybody's going to have their own opinion about location. But I mean, if you're making millions and millions of dollars and you're going after what the money says and who, or rather what team, I mean, when you look, hold on.
It's allergy season.
We got some technical difficulties.
Listen, it's allergy season. To piggyback off his point, he's absolutely right. Like, listen, you go to Minnesota for 35 mil for a season. I think it's a fair investment.
I see. Yeah, and Correa is still a top 10 player in baseball, and like when you add a top 10 player, and his OPS at Target Field is like video game numbers. It's like 1.200. Like that's just ridiculous. Other trades that were made this offseason, if you've been living under a rock, Chris Bryant to the Rockies, Seager and Simeon obviously to the Rangers. Hey, he's back. So one more time, did Carlos Correa make the right choice?
Yes, he made the right decision. All right. Sorry about that. My throat went, it literally felt like my throat closed and I couldn't speak. But yes, he made the right decision. Sometimes it's really not about rings. Sometimes it's just about where the money is and going after the money. I'm just going to keep it as short and simple as that because I feel my throat.
Keep it a buck, honestly.
Like CJ McCollum said, take care of your mental and take care of your chickens. So I'm happy for Correa. I'm glad. Hey, he said he wanted to be in pinstripes. So technically, I mean, I guess he did go to pinstripes. But Declan, after Correa and Scherzer, which team got the best? Like, what was the biggest acquisition after those two? Because I think it's a consensus that everyone has Scherzer and Correa as the best two acquisitions.
I would put Freddie up there. Really,
Freddie?
Honestly.
Okay. Freddie, Matty Olson.
Freddie, Matty Olson, two really big acquisitions I'd put up there. The Chris Bryant one is big.
It's meh.
Like it would be big if it was somewhere else. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know,
if the Phillies got him. If like the Phillies got him, for example.
And that's really where he should have went. And that's where it looked like that deal was almost on the half-yard line. And all they had to do was run it. Shout out to Marshawn Lynch. But they could not get the deal done.
To go back to your statement, maybe he doesn't want to live in Philadelphia.
Maybe he doesn't want to live in Philadelphia. I would listen. Philly is close enough for me locally to say, all right, I got the Jersey Shore in my back pocket. But I don't know. It's still not that close. Denver, it's tough to turn down the Rocky Mountains. It's also a beautiful park. And this is a guy who won the MVP, won a Rookie of the Year, won a World Series in Chicago, first in 108 years, probably one of the most significant rings ever.
He is sleeping well.
He's just got to play for the Hall. It's really all he's got to play for the Hall.
And he got $200 million, essentially. Yes, we're going to round up 182 to 200. I'm sorry. If you don't like it,
probably the least pressure on a guy making $182 million that you'll see in a long time.
Yeah, and he turns 30 this year.
That's all he's got to do. And they can move him. Like, he's probably not going to be there.
He's not going to be there in 2 years, but he got his money's worth. So that's all that matters.
Someone has to pay him, right?
Absolutely. No, because he's like wherever he goes, he still has to be guaranteed that contract. The funny thing about that is that the Rockies are paying Arenado $51 million to be there. Like, it's just like, why?
Like, I don't know. They don't have an intelligent owner. They have a new GM, but the GM before that was horrible.
Manny says, Andres is waiting for one of you to mention Boston. You're not low. No, because Trevor Story is not bigger than Max Scherzer or Carlos Correa, but nice try. A for effort. Jordan.
I'm sure we'll talk Trevor Story, hopefully, right? I don't know.
Yeah, we will at some point during the season. But Jordan, any final thoughts before we wrap up episode 4?
Get your money. Keep your mentals in check. Drink water. Everything else will work out.
Short, simple, and sweet. Declan, any final thoughts before we wrap up episode 4 of Sports Mania?
I mean, my thoughts is I see my boy Jordan on Long Island, I should say. on a Snapchat story all the time. So hit me up over the summer. I'd love to link with you guys. Thanks for having me on. Really happy to be here, seriously, and make my debut. Andres, we had you on Smoke and Mirrors the other day. Jordan, we've had you on a couple times too. You guys are always welcome. It's an open invite, but thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Wait, you're on Long Island?
So yeah, I'm all right. Right now, no. I'm in. I don't even know how to locate the place I'm in right now because it's Rockport, upstate. It's about an hour outside of Buffalo.
You go to SUNY Rockport.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So
Gotcha.
You're at what? Are you at Stony Brook?
Stony Brook, yeah.
You are at Stony Brook. Yeah. So Andres, did you go to Stony Brook as well?
That's how we met. Yeah. Pretty much,
okay.
yeah.
So now,
and then, so the funny thing is, I told Carl that I'm going to send him a picture. And then he was like, wait, Mr. C? And I'm like, yeah, how do you know Carl? So Carl gave me classes at Suffolk, and then Carl taught him in high school. So, and now we're friends. Small world.
That is something. Listen, I'm in New York City, so that's where I'm at when I'm not at school.
Maybe we'll hit a game or two this summer, maybe three or four.
For sure.
But Jordan, what are you doing on Monday?
Nothing.
I'm going to give you something to do. You're going to watch Smoke and Mirrors with Greg, Steph, and the third part of the three-headed snake, Declan, right here. Mondays at 7:15 p.m. sharp.
Love Jordan, it. That was a great promo.
Jordan, what are you doing on Tuesday?
Oh, he's not done, Declan. I'm not.
Oh, wait. You're done. You're not doing anything? All right, go ahead. I'm going to give you something to do. Starting at 4 p.m., you're going to watch Loyal to the E, WWE with Carl and Mike. That goes live at 4 p.m. This weekend is actually, next weekend is actually WrestleMania, so be sure to tune into that. Are you doing anything else on Tuesday, Jordan? No, you're not. You're going to watch Chirp and Chat with Ryan at 5:30 p.m. And then, listen, yesterday, the Fan Zone was must watch, just like Smoke and Mirrors was. I think we've been cooking all week. But Jordan, next Tuesday, you're going to watch the Fan Zone with Manny and Mike. Every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Chuck makes a guest appearances. Then you're going to watch us Wednesdays at 4 p.m. And after you're done, listen, you have a 2-hour break right now. So go watch Smoke and Mirrors and then watch the Fan Zone. And then you're going to watch On the Court with Carl, who's on vacation. Shout out to Carl for being on vacation. Mike, Ziggy, Coach Walm. You're going to watch AEW Injection following Dynamite at 10 p.m. And then Thursdays, tomorrow, Jordan, what are you going to do? Nothing. I'm glad you said that. You're going to watch the B Show with Deb, Mrs. Colange, the First Lady, 6 p.m. And after that, what are you going to do, Jordan? Nothing. You're going to watch the roster with Travis and Paul. Episode 3 is going to be out tomorrow. We have like 15,000 shows 4 days a week. Like, share, comment, subscribe to all the platforms. Thank you guys for being for me. Declan, take care of your mental health and drink lots of water. Thank you for coming on. Jordan,
appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Take care of your allergies and drink water. Guys, stay safe. God bless. And we'll see you next week for a preview of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. See you on the next one. Peace.